It is the last plenary of the week, this time with a full complement of chamber staff following the suspension of the industrial action by Labour and Trade Union Congress. Senate once again addressed the issue of insecurity. It called on security agencies to develop a national security policy that will enhance synergy and coordination in their operations. This followed a motion by Senator Abdulaziz Musa Yar'Adua, which commended security forces and agencies for their commitment so far and also urged them to carry out an effective and holistic tracking of all forms of insecurity in the country.
It's a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Yar'Adua Abdulaziz Musa on the improvement of coordination and synergy between Nigerian security forces and agencies to help strengthen and win the fight against the insecurity in the nation. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Yar'Adua Abdulaziz Musa to move the motion.
Mr. President, before I go ahead with the motion, I want to make a little amendment on the subject heading of the motion to read urgent need for the improvement of coordination and synergy between Nigerian security forces and agencies to help strengthen and win the fight against insecurity in the nation. Urgent need for the improvement of coordination and synergy between Nigerian security forces and agencies to help strengthen and win the fight against insecurity in the nation. The Senate knows that the contemporary security landscape in Nigeria poses unprecedented challenges that outstrip the protective capabilities of any security agency alone. Therefore, the fight against insurgency and other novel security crises requires the collaboration of all the relevant security agencies and ministries, departments, and agencies. Also notes that Nigeria has various security agencies aside the Armed Forces of Nigeria and the Nigeria Police Force. These include the Nigeria Customs Service, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigerian Correctional Service, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, and other authorized civilian task forces. Additionally, Nigeria has other key security services that oversee both internal and external threats: the Department of State Service, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and the National Intelligence Agency. Aware that Nigeria faces numerous simultaneous security crises. These include the Boko Haram in the northeast, the activities of bandits and kidnappers in the northwest, the activities of gunmen in the southeast and south-south, and other forms of criminality like armed robbery, herders, farmers clashes, and cross-border crimes. Informed about the kidnapping of Major General R.C. Duru, retired in Owerri, Imo State, on 27th September 2023 by members of IPOB, and the overall nefarious acts of the proscribed outfits, and the much touted unknown gunmen in the eastern part of the country. Reports that on the 3rd of October 2023, at least 5 people were killed and some others injured when bandits attacked the Ongwar Dankali community in Zaria local government area of Kaduna State. Also informed about the fact that troops of Operation Safe Haven and Operation Hakorin Damisa 4 from 9 to 16th October 2023 neutralized bandits and armed robbers and arrested 59 suspects in connection with kidnapping, armed robbery, cattle rustling, railway vandalism, gun running, illegal mining, as well as recovered arms and ammunition and illicit drugs. Gathered from the Punch newspaper on the 18th of October 2023 that no fewer than 50 people, including a district head, women and children, have been abducted, while 3 others were reportedly killed in an attack by bandits in Bagega, a mining village in Zamfara State. Worried that just recently on the 20th of October 2023, bandits in their numbers raided Damusa town in Katsina State, the headquarters of Damusa local government area, killing 7 people and injuring 10 people, and kidnapped a yet to be a certain number of people. Furthermore, the bandits also attacked the people of Uruma, Tamawa, and Datlawa villages in Kurfi local government, killing people and rustling cattle. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, just last week, about 8 villages were attacked in Katsina Southern Senatorial Zone, in Musawa and Matazu local governments. Over 26 people were killed, 30 were abducted, 37 were injured, and over 20 cows were roasted. Cognizant of the fact that the primary focus of security agencies should be directed at making Nigeria safe, the insecurity in Nigeria can only be tackled if all security agencies and parastatals that play key roles in national security work in synergy under a centralized command structure to ensure that the country is highly secured. This cooperative effort reinforces the interdependence and interrelatedness of Nigerian security agencies. Accordingly, the Senate resolves to commend the security forces and agencies in Nigeria for the ongoing efforts made in fighting all forms of insecurity in the country. Urge the various security agencies in Nigeria, both military and paramilitary, to improve and enhance their interoperational synergy and coordination for the effective and holistic tackling of the various types of insecurity plaguing the nation. To develop a national security policy document outlining the framework for an improved and streamlined synergy and coordination between the various security agencies, and to embark on joint training to enhance their capabilities and effectiveness in dealing with all forms of security challenges bedeviling our dear nation. Accordingly, the security agencies should embark on joint training to enhance their capabilities and effectiveness in dealing with all forms of security challenges bedeviling our nation. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, first and foremost, let me second the motion for the urgent need to improve coordination of synergy between Nigerian security forces and agencies to help strengthen and win the fight against insecurity in the nation. Mr. President, my very distinguished colleagues, this motion is up, very important, unique for this, our country, dear Nigeria. As we all know, the primary assignment of every government is to protect life and properties of its citizens. And I want to use this time to commend the sagacity of the mover of this motion for bringing it out this time where the people that we represent are yearning for security, for them to sleep with their two eyes closed. The era and time of security fighting within themselves is gone. At times when you see military fighting the police people, or police versus civil defense, or army versus customs, it interacts and it discourages the coordination of security in Nigeria. And I want to urge our colleague to look at this motion with all seriousness and importance because of the people and even ourselves in the highways we are traveling, so that we should advise the security, and if it is possible, let them bring themselves together and see the reason why they should work together, why they should advise themselves together to lead, to have very good idea, very timing, to protect the people that we are representing, and to make security their primary assignment, where governments are paying them for. Just 2 weeks ago, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, we have just approved a supplementary budget for the executive arm of government. And looking at the supplementary budget, 80% of the finances and the fund has been channeled to the security agencies in this country alone. On this time and on this note, I want my colleagues under the leadership of Mr. President to see the suggestion of where we should support this motion and ask the security to be out and doing to protect the people who are presented. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I so submit.
We are living in very, very difficult times. We are living in very hard times, and it is important to believe every one of us is threatened security-wise. Mr. President, gone are those days when we hear security challenges from in the northeast, in the north-central states of Niger and Benue, in the northern western states of Zamfara and Sokoto. Today, Mr. President, as we speak, the only area that is secure in Nigeria that go out and sleep with their eyes closed is probably the villa. Every part of this country, people are apprehensive. Just 2 days ago, sir, just 2 days ago, in Kubwa, the in-law of Jeribe was kidnapped. Payment paid. After the payment, they killed the man. Just 2 days ago, Senator Jeribe's in-law. And that has been the story, sir, of everywhere in this country. And this is about the 9th attempted motion on security only in the last 4 months. Sir, we can't continue to keep on rendering motions one after the other. Ibn Yar'Adua himself, this is about his 3rd motion on the issue of security. And that's why we created a committee of compliance. What has happened to the resolutions of the National Assembly? But knowing the kind of terrain we have, and for one, I'm not accusing the present administration of any dereliction. They have inherited a very bad liabilities, as of course canvassed by everyone that knows what he's doing. Sir, 3 months ago, under your leadership, we sat here and screened the service chiefs, and we extracted commitment from them. We, under your leadership here, screened the service chiefs, and amongst other things that we have agreed with them, we have extracted commitment that from time to time, we need to invite them where there are issues. Sir, there is no better time now than now to recall these service chiefs together with the Inspector General of Police. Sir, as I speak to you, there is no constituency, one senatorial constituency or federal constituencies that have no issues that has to do with security. And like I said, now this is the 9th attempt to deal with these security issues. What do we need to do going further, sir? It is, in my opinion, imbibe the security chiefs and the Inspector General of Police and the National Security Advisor before the Senate at a closed session and bring out all the motions via boards and proceedings and inform them of the specifics like being enumerated by Senator Yar'Adua and many other of our colleagues. Sir, unless we try to do something different and tell them and ask them questions, what is their problem? This is what is happening in the nation. Why are we not getting improvement? Why are we? Is it about funding? Is it about personnel? Is it about logistics? What is it? What is the problem? Sir, if you go around this city, by 12 o'clock at night, run down the city, you never see one policeman. After 12, one policeman. Everybody goes home by 12. Everybody. And you know we're politicians, so we do our things usually at night. And you go there, and you know you are on your own. You know you are on your own. That is within the metropolis here. But you cannot even venture to go to Kubwa or Gwarimpa by 10 o'clock. You call Uber, they will tell you they are not going there. Sir, we can't continue like this. So my suggestion is that in our prayer, as good as this motion is, we need to do some other things differently. When the prayer, time for prayer comes, I want to make an amendment to this thing. But it is a very, very disturbing phenomenon. And Nigerians are looking at us. They can't see the president, they can't see the governors, they see us. We are everything to them. So I think it is important that some of these informations are here, but it is also important, sir, the committee of compliance that we have created to be given the wherewithal, sir, to be able to follow up these motions. We can't make motion and then just keep them. And when tomorrow comes, there is no synergy between what we pass and what we are going to do. So the committee of compliance, sir, should be able to be empowered to follow all this up to the villa, up to the Inspector General of Police, National Security Advisor, service chiefs, so that by the time we have some of this situation, we just call him, what have you done this far? And then we'll get these answers. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm aware that even when we talked about the electricity bill, they were able to follow it up until it was stopped, and so many others. And when this chamber made a resolution that people should be treated in hospitals with gun wounds, whether or not they have police reports, the IG of police accordingly issued directives to that effect that all gunshot victims should be treated, but report made to the police, but they must be treated in order to save their lives. That wasn't the case before. People were just allowed to die in hospitals, whether they were victims or whether they were the culprits. So I think that most of our resolutions are being obeyed and adhered to, and the Committee on Compliance is already doing a great job. They just finished a fantastic retreat which was well attended, and they've enumerated what they are going to do for the year. Yeah, the next thing we need to do is to do exactly what we have just said, empower them so that they will be able to follow up on all our resolutions. Some of the items you have said, some of the issues you brought up are issues that we can put in the amendment to the prayers. And is there anybody here who is opposed to this motion? Okay, so we go to the prayers. Accordingly, commend the security forces and agencies in Nigeria for the ongoing efforts made in fighting all forms of insecurity in the country. Those who are in support of prayer won't say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Urge the various security agencies in Nigeria, both military and paramilitary, to A, improve and enhance their inter-operational synergy and coordination for the effective and holistic tackling of the various types of insecurity plaguing the nation. Develop a national security policy document outlining the framework for an improved and streamlined synergy. So let's take it one by one. Prayer 2A, improve and enhance their inter-operational synergy and coordination for the effective and holistic tackling of the various types of insecurity plaguing the nation. Those in support of prayer 2, sub A, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Sub B, develop a national security policy document outlining the framework for an improved and streamlined synergy and coordination between the various security agencies. Those who are in support of sub B say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Sub C, embark on joint training. Embark on joint training to enhance their capabilities and effectiveness in dealing with all forms of security challenges bedeviling our dear nation. Those who are in support of this joint training say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Senator Ningi, additional prayer.
Security Advisor.
This is the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority on another live coverage of plenary proceedings from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm Lami Ali. Now, yesterday during plenary, there were some appointments that were announced by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. The vacuum of the minority leadership, that is the minority leader, and that of the minority whip, were filled yesterday. And I have with me the brand new minority leader of the 10th Senate, Senator Abomoro, representing Benue South. So I thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me start by congratulating you on this new appointment. We want you to share your thoughts with us concerning your new appointment as the minority leader of the 10th Senate.
Well, I feel very happy and very fulfilled, and I also thank my colleagues for deeming it fit and finding me worthy to elect me as the new minority leader. It's a huge challenge in front of me in the present circumstances in which we find our politics in Nigeria. I think it's a big challenge. But again, like my colleagues have said, it's a challenge that I am braced up for to confront frontally. And I can assure you that together with the ruling party, together with my colleagues in the opposition, all of us joining hands together and working together, we can build a new Nigeria, a system in Nigeria that can work for all of us. Today, I am aware that Nigerians are hurting. Very many issues are begging for answers. And I think that with a robust engagement with the ruling party, we should be able to provide solutions to the myriad of problems that confront Nigeria today as a nation.
Now, yesterday, following the announcement filling the vacancies of the minority leadership, there were some dissenting voices from some members of the minority caucus. Now, what led to that situation?
Well, in the beginning, you'll want to recall that positions in the minority leadership were distributed amongst the minority political parties. And unfortunately, the court nullified the election of two of the leaders, the minority leader and the minority whip. And so it became necessary going forward to fill these leadership positions. And so the PDP, as a majority party in the opposition, with 38 senators, decided that PDP should have 3 positions, and the other position should go to the minority parties within the opposition, considering the fact that another very minority party, the SCB, also has the chairmanship of the Public Accounts Committee. And so that was the decision, and the decision was ordinarily supposed to be brought before the entirety of the minority parties for resolution. When we actually met, we were unable, ab initio, to find some level of consensus among senators, but 2 persons that indicated interest, Senator Osita Ngo of Enugu West, and Tony Nwoye of Anambra North, indicated interest to run for the position. And generally, as is with our procedure, individuals interested will get nominations and endorsement from our colleagues, which they did. And I understand that Osita Ngo got 30 signatories out of 49, and Tony Nwoye got about 14 or 15 signatories. And so, at the end of the day, because of lack of consensus, the Senate President, in his wisdom, decided to take the candidate with the highest number of endorsements. And that is why Osita was announced. But it didn't sit well with the Labour Party because they felt that ordinarily the position of whip should have been left entirely for the Labour Party to fill. But having said that, having seen what has come up now, it is our responsibility to talk to contending contending parties and to see how we can reach some level of resolution of the impasse. As an opposition party, I think this is the least time for us to have fundamental or major disagreements. And I have a responsibility as the minority leader to bring all the parties to a round table to enable us arrive at a consensus on the issue.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
That was the minority leader of the 10th Senate, Senator Abomuru. We now take you into the chamber where the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is already seated and presiding over the day's proceedings.
Urgent need to stop the Galadima kidnappings and killing fields. The urgent need for security agencies to act. The Senate should observe that the scourge of kidnappings, a prevailing conflict within Nigeria, has penetrated the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, undermining the very essence of safety and security. Protests echoing the surge in kidnappings during 2022 spotlighted the worsening situation, emphasizing the indiscriminate nature of these abductions, targeting individuals across various social strata, from politicians to civilians, students, security agents, motorists, farmers, faith-based organizations, and aid workers. Despite the nation's seat of governance residing within the FCT Abuja, the Kuje Area Council stands notorious for its escalating kidnapping incidents. Also observes that while efforts have been underway to curtail this insecurity, the persistence of the kidnapping menace remains evident. Legislative actions such as the 2022 legislation signed by the Nigeria's president aimed at penalizing ransom payments and abductions, but the efficacy of these measures remains uncertain. Worried that the recent abduction of 19 individuals, yes, 19, including my senior legislative aide, Barrister Chris Agidi, in the Galadima neighborhood, Abuja, exemplifies the gravity of the situation. Despite swift engagement with law enforcement agencies, tragically, according to security forces, out of the 19 abducted, 12 lives have been lost, and 7 individuals are still being held captive in a forested area spanning approximately 100 kilometers. Deeply worried that the failure to urgently address the kidnapping crisis in Nigeria, especially in FCT, could result in social unrest, loss of confidence in governance, humanitarian toll, economic decline, increased insecurity, and potential international implications, all of which could profoundly impact the nation's stability, prosperity, and international standing. Accordingly, resolves to, 1, call for a joint operation involving the Army, Air Force, Police, the DSS to intensify the search efforts for the remaining captives. Urge the Inspector General of Police to see to the installation of CCTV cameras in strategic locations within and around Abuja, highways, and other major capital cities to foster surveillance and deter criminal activities. 3, also call on the Inspector General of Police to urgently increase security patrols and surveillance within Abuja and across the nation to proactively combat and prevent further kidnappings. 4, mandate the committees on defense and police to conduct a thorough investigation into these kidnappings and other similar incidents in and around Abuja. Also, mandate the aforementioned committees to recommend robust strategies to prevent future kidnappings within FCT. And of course, observe 1 minute silence in honor of the lives lost due to the cruelty of the kidnappers. I so move, Mr. President.
Any seconder? Yes, Senator Dafinone.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Ide Dafinone and I represent the good people of Delta Central. I rise to support the motion raised by distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko on the need to stop not just the Galadima kidnappings, but also for the security agents to take necessary action to prevent and deter and catch kidnappers, to prevent this from becoming a lucrative business that is spurred by the poverty in the society. I so support, sir.
Distinguished Senator Abaribe.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ayin Abaribe. I represent Abia South. While also supporting this motion, I need to point out that it's not just in Galadimawa. I had occasion to have a discussion last week with Senator Kingibe. Several parts of Abuja are under siege. Part of Lugbe, on the back side of Lugbe, Kubwa and so forth. So many citizens no longer sleep in their homes. They run into town and go back during the day. So there's something very, very serious going on in around the Federal Capital Territory. No matter what we say, this is the capital territory of Nigeria. If there's anywhere that's going to be seen as very secure, this ought to be the most secure place in Nigeria. Now that it seems that the same lackadaisical attitude to security is being taken to, all of us are at risk. Now, an aide to a senator, tomorrow it might be an aide to a minister. It might also be one of us, God forbid. But the point is, something very, very drastic and immediate must be done by the security agencies to handle this matter. It is not because we do not have the resources, because these people ask for ransom, they use their cell phones, they can be tracked, and then in and around Abuja FCT is supposed to be a security zone. And therefore, I second and support all the prayers that are part of this motion, and wish that this Senate do take this matter as serious and as urgent as it is. I so second.
Distinguished Senator Alero.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mohammed Adam Alero is my name. I represent Flemish Central. Mr. President, I rise to lend my support to this very important motion, ably moved by Senator Monir. In supporting it, Mr. President, I have to say that the security situation in Abuja is grave. Yeah. In fact, it is even beyond that. As my colleague has rightly said, many people are no longer sleeping in their houses because of fear of being abducted. They are helpless. So they need assistance and support. And Mr. President, there is no other place to ginger the security agents than the National Assembly. We are the House of Assembly of the FCT. whatever is happening in FCT has to be discussed here in the Senate or in the House of Representatives. So we should take this issue very seriously. Mr. President, I observe or I noticed that in the prayer, he mentioned that CCTV cameras should be installed in all parts of Abuja. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, as far back as 2009, when I was Minister of ACT, the contract for the installation of CCTV camera was awarded to the tune of over $500 million. Mr. President, the contractor just came and installed useless cameras that are supposed to work with sunlight, and he has abandoned that contract and nobody has heard anything about it. I understand that it was discussed at the National Assembly around 2015, and nobody has heard anything about it. So it is now time for us to revisit that issue of 500 billion naira worth of contract for the installation of CCTV camera in FCT. We have to make the contractor to account for that huge sums of money. The citizens are left without security. The money has gone down the drain and nobody is talking about it. I'm happy that Senator Monir has brought out this motion. We should support it, and in mandating the committee that will do the investigation, they must thoroughly investigate that contract award. Mr. President, FCT is home for everybody. That's why everybody is now coming into FCT to stay because of relative security compared to other places in the 36 states of the Federation. This is the seat of government. This is where the diplomats are staying. It is embarrassing. It's a national shame and disgrace for us to have this kind of thing. So the security agent must be up to task, and we must ginger them to do the needful. We have approved huge sums of money just last month.
Can we stop the meetings? Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I said, we have approved well over 1.something trillion naira to the security agents. And the whole idea of approving that money is to improve security nationwide, including the Federal Capital Territory. It is time for us to embark on oversight to ensure that that money is judiciously used, is judiciously utilized. Mr. President, I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Honestly, I think we should go straight into the prayers. Coincidentally, the Committee on National Security and Intelligence, together with the Committee on ICT, Cybercrime, they are having a public hearing right now on their proposed amendment to the National Security Act. As we speak, they are gathering for so even the chairman or the chairman of the two committees are not in chambers at the moment. The issue is supported by all. The motion is supported by all, but a bit very worrisome, considering that we are talking about the Federal Capital Territory. Maybe in the prayers, you may consider including invitation of the minister in charge of the FCT to have a closed session with the Senate to discuss on the findings and the situation that we have found ourselves in the FCT, and including the Inspector General of Police and thereabout. But this is very worrisome. But I must express my sympathy to Senator Odette Nwoko, because when he mentioned 19 of 19 people kidnapped in one location, and it said 12 are feared dead. It sends a terrible signal, considering that Galadima is within the Federal Capital Territory. So let's look at the prayers, and maybe we can add additional prayers to strengthen it. Prayer 1, call for a joint operation involving the Army, the Air Force, the Police, and Department of State Services, DSS, to intensify the search efforts for the kidnapped victims. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Urge the Inspector General of Police to see to the installation of CCTV cameras in strategic locations within and around Abuja, the highways, and other capital cities to bolster surveillance and detect criminal activities. Any amendment? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mohamed Adamu Aleru is my name, the Representative Center. Mr. President, I want to amend this prayer to read, to add the Minister of Federal Capital Territory to revisit the contract of the installation of CCTV cameras in strategic locations within and around Abuja. Yes. Because that contract was awarded and the money has been paid and the work has not been done. So it is the minister that will revisit the, it was the minister that will revisit that contract and see that it is executed according to the contract agreement. Thank you.
Yes, Doctor. We need a seconder for that amendment.
No seconder.
Second the amendment, if permitted, with little amendment again. To amend further, that the Senate should probe.
Sorry. Introduce yourself and then further, then say whether you have.
Representing Oyo Central. I stand to second the amendment as moved by Senator Ailero and amend further that is.
Distinguished colleagues, prayer 2 has been amended. A proposed amendment has been made by Senator Ailero that we should urge the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to revisit the issue of the installation of CCTV cameras within Abuja and around the environs, particularly the past contract where over 500 billion have been spent. And this has been seconded by my brother. Those who are in support of this prayer too, as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. Call on the Inspector General of Police to urgently increase security patrols and surveillance within Abuja and across the nation to proactively combat and prevent further kidnappings. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 4. Mandate the Committees on Defense and Police Affairs to conduct a thorough investigation into these recent kidnappings and other similar incidents in and around Abuja. Those in support of prayer 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 5. Mandate the aforementioned committees to recommend robust strategies to prevent future kidnappings within the FCT. Mandate the aforementioned committees to recommend robust strategies to prevent future kidnappings within the FCT. Those in support of prayer 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 6, observe 1 minute silence in all the lives lost due to the cruelty of kidnappers. I believe strongly that the Civil Senator Nedwoko, this prayer 6 is presumptuous. You are saying that reports available have it that 12 of them have been killed, but nobody has been found. So it's also possible that it may be social media reports. So if we observe a minute silence and they are found tomorrow, how do we call back the minute silence? Senator Goje, explain how we can recall the minute silence.
What?
If we observe minute silence for the presumed killing of 12 of the 19 kidnapped victims, and then in future they are found, how can the Senate call back the minute silence?
You have already answered your question. It's presumptuous. We shouldn't do this. We should wait until the issue is properly settled and it's confirmed that they have died. Then we'll come and do the 1 minute silence. But we pray that we don't do it because we pray that they don't die.
I really pray it doesn't happen. So, prayer 6, observe a minute silence. Those in honor of prayer 6, that we should observe a minute silence for these 12 presumed dead kidnapped victims. Say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Additional prayers. Yes, Senator Kawu.
Mr. President, my dear distinguished honorable colleagues, I am Suleiman Abrahaman Kawu Sumaila, representing Kano South Senatorial District from Kano. Mr. President. Okay. Mr. President, I am proposing an additional prayer that commend the security agencies and urge them to redouble their effort in making sure the release of all captives across the country, because there are so many Nigerians who are in captivity. I so propose.
No seconder. No seconder. Yes, additional prayer, Senator Goje.
Mr. President, my additional prayer. Mr. President, my additional prayer is because of the amendment effected on prayer 2. If you look at prayer 2 closely, it's not talking about Abuja alone. Prayer 2 covers the entire country. It says installation of CCTV cameras in strategic locations within around Abuja, highways, and other major capital cities in the country. But the amendment effected by Senator Alero restricted the whole thing to Abuja alone. So I want to add a prayer to say that the Inspector General of Police should ensure the installation of CCTV cameras in other major capital cities in the country, not only Abuja. It should go to other major capital cities. Because the amendment Alero effected just made it limited to Abuja alone. But the original prayer covers the entire country. So I want to bring back the original prayer in a different way, so that the CCTVs should cover major cities in Nigeria.
So the distinguished Senator Goje has added an additional prayer saying that we should urge all security agencies involved in the fight against kidnapping and terrorism to effect and install CCTV cameras in all major cities and major locations in Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, particularly the Nigerian police services. Any seconder, Senator Sani Musa?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Muhammad Sani Musa, representing Niger East. I stand to second the amendment moved by Senator Goje. I so second.
Yes, distinguished colleagues, Senator Goje has added an additional prayer, and it has been seconded by distinguished Senator Sani Musa, that security agencies involved in the fight against kidnapping and terrorism, including the Inspector General Police, should consider installing CCTV cameras in most major cities and locations in Nigeria to avert further kidnappings. Those in support of this additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The clerk. I hope you are noting. Yes, this is Senator Ekong.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ekong Samson, Akwa Ibom South. My original prayer is that the Senate Committee on FCT be mandated to liaise with the Minister of FCT and brief the rich chambers on this matter. Thank you.
Yes, any seconder? Yes, the mic. Distinguished colleagues, an amendment, not necessarily, additional prayer has been proposed by distinguished Senator Ekong Samson and seconded, that the committees on FCT and FCT area councils should liaise with the Minister of FCT to obtain relevant information and to brief the Senate adequately on measures being taken to avert these recurrent kidnappings. Those in support of this additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Let me thank distinguished Senator Ned Nwoko and wish you God's protection, both for you, your family, and all your aides, and wish all of us God's protection. And I pray that those who were kidnapped, including your aides, will regain their freedom in the shortest possible time. And I assure you that even as we are speaking now, that the security agencies are doing their utmost best to bring the situation under control. We pray that God will guide them and bring them back safely, so that we will not have the need to observe a minute silence in their honor. Thank you for drawing the Senate's and the public's attention to this menace within and around the environs of the FCT. Senate Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished senators. The first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Asukwo Ekpeyon on the National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 77. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 77, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Youth Service Corps NYSC Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 77. First reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Omoya Dafinone on the Federal University of Education, Isiokolo, Delta State, Establishment Bill 2023, SB 269. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Education, Isiokolo, Delta State Establishment Bill 2023, SB 269, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal University of Education, Isiokolo, Delta State Establishment Bill 2023, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Adetokunbo Abiro Mukail on the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 277. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
The Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation NDIC Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 277, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation NDIC Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 277, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Abdul Hamid Malam Madori on the Federal Medical Center Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 278. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Center Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 278, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Medical Center Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 278, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Nwaboni Onyeka Peter on the David Umahi University of Health Science Establishment Bill 2023 SB 279. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, David Umahi University of Health Science Establishment Bill 2023, SB 279, first reading.
What did you say? Distinguished colleagues, David Umahi University of Health Sciences Establishment Bill 2023, SB 279, first reading taken. That's what is here. Huh? Okay, do we change it to Senator Nengi? I think so. I think so. Maybe Senator Nengi, it should have been University of Health Sciences and then mention education. So this one is so when he goes, if he doesn't go for second reading, he would have died. So it's not a problem. Thank you. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the first order of the day is a motion requesting the Senate to consider the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief for the confirmation of the nomination of Mrs. Olayinka Oladunjoye for appointment as Commissioner representing Lagos State in the National Population Commission in accordance with the provisions of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as 1999 as altered. Mr. President, distinguished senators, the purpose of this motion on the order paper is for the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief to be referred to the relevant committee for further legislative action. I therefore move that the Senate do consider the request of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief for the confirmation of the nomination of Mrs. Olayinka Oladunjoye for appointment as Commissioner representing Lagos State in the National Population Commission. I so move, Mr. President.
The Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion moved by the Leader of the Senate that the Senate do consider the confirmation of the nomination of Mrs. Olayinka Oladunjoye for appointment as Commissioner representing Lagos State in the National Population Commission. I so second.
Yes, distinguished colleagues. The motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do consider It has not gone to the committee yet. That this Senate do consider and refer the Mr. President nominee, Mrs. Olayinka Oladunoje, for appointment as Commissioner representing Lagos State in the National Population Commission. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Watching live plenary proceedings from the Senate. So far, the Senate has passed 5 bills for first reading. Among the bills is the Amendments Bill for the National Youth Service Corps Act, being sponsored by Senator Suko Ekenyong. Another bill that has also passed first reading is the bill seeking to amend the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation Act, NDIC, being sponsored by Senator Adetokunbo Abiru. He is the chairman, Senate Committee on Banking and Insurance. Earlier, at the commencement of plenary, there was a motion on the need to beef up security to curb kidnapping in the FCT.
Appropriation, national planning and economic affairs, as well as local and foreign debts on the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Sani Musa to move the motion for the Senate to receive and consider the report of the committee. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Sani Musa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District. I move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Joint Committee on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning and Economic Affairs, and local and foreign debts on the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, and fiscal strategy paper. I so move. I so second. No, I'm moving, not second. No, I'm to move. I so move. I'm to move.
Yes, any seconder. Distinguished Senator Jaribe.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Jaribe Agom Jaribe. I so second the motion as moved by Senator Sani.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Distinguished Senator Sani Musa. You may proceed.
the chairman of the Senate Joint Committee on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning, Economic Affairs, and Local and Foreign Debts. They're submitting the report of the 2024 to 2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper after the week-long interactive session with about 180 MDAs.
Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate at its sitting on Thursday, 9th November 2023, considered the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, on the 2024-2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTEP, and Fiscal Strategy paper, FSP. In accordance with Section 11, subsection 1B of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, which requires that the federal government of Nigeria prepares the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to, among other things, encapsulate policy thrust behind government's revenue and expenditure estimates for the next 3 financial years, highlighting its revenue projection, expenditures, plans, and fiscal targets over the medium term based on a reliable and consistent fiscal outlook. As we all know, this is a very important economic planning tool for the next 3 years, and it came at a time the country is experiencing some economic challenges as a result of removal of fuel subsidy. Recognizing this fact, the federal government will, more than at any other time before, strengthen the implementation framework required to achieve the economic challenges in the 2024 to 2026 MTEP FSP. The methodology we use in order to properly scrutinize the MTEPs, 76 government-owned enterprises, MDAs, and revenue-generating agencies were invited to the 5-day stakeholders interactive session for 2024-2026 MTEP and FSP from 9th November to 15th November to present the performance of 2023 budget and projections for 2024, 2025, and 2026.
Distinguished Senator Sani Musa, our colleagues are complaining that they don't have the paper with them. Huh? Sergeant at Arms, Clerk, please find out if the members have the report so that they can. Huh? If the report is not with them, how would they make contributions? They haven't seen the report. So, until the report is distributed to members, it is hereby stood down. Leader of the Senate.
Yeah. Well, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the second reading of the Bitumen Development Commission Bill 2023 SB 07. And distinguished colleagues have just been informed that the lead debate, copies of the lead debate are yet to arrive, and in view of this, I would be advising that we step down this bill for the next legislative day, which will now take us to the...
So, the minority leader, the Senate leader has moved that the third order of the day, the second reading of the Bitumen Development Commission bill, be stood down to the next legislative date. Please, can you second the motion?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the consideration of the bill for the establishment of Bitumen Development Commission of Nigeria is hereby stood down. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the Senate leader has moved the motion that the third order of the day, the Bitumen Development Commission Bill 2023 SB07 be stood down to another legislative date, and it has been so seconded. Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So this is hereby stood down for another legislative date. The Senate leader.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of the Federal College of Geological and Cement Studies, Iselu, Yewa North, Ogun State, Establishment Bill 2023 SB 109. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 5th October 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Olamilekan Adeola Solomon to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time.
Distinguished Senator Solomon Olamilekan.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I understand distinguished Senator
Yes, distinguished Senator Solomon Olamilekan, Chairman Appropriation, running out of Appropriation Committee meeting. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleague, Adeola Solomon Olamilekan, representing Ogun West Senatorial District in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, may I lead the debate on the bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Geological and Cement Studies, Iselu,
Yewa North, Ogun State, SB 109, that was sponsored by my very humble self. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, permit me to lead the debate on this important bill for the establishment of Federal College of Geological and Cement Study in Selu, Yewa North, Ogun State, for training of geologists and other specialists related to solid mineral sectors and for award of certification at different levels. The bill was read for the first time in this Allo chamber on Thursday, 5th October 2023. Mr. President, the Nigerian cement industry plays a critical role in our nation's infrastructural development. Accordingly, to publish a report of 2022, the three major players in the industries are Dangote Cement PLC being the leader with 60.6% of the market shares and installed capacity of 29.3 million metric tons. Lafarge has 21.8% with a production capacity of 10.5 billion tons, while Bua Cement accounts for 17.6%, with plan for increase in the production capacity. The investment in this sector runs into billions of United States dollars, and its effective operation to ensure backward integration and local content requires skilled personnel locally. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the proposed college will be the first of its kind that will be located in an area with massive deposit of limestone that lies underground in most parts of Ogun West Senatorial District, which I am representing, up to even Republic of Benin. Already, the Senatorial District has the presence of the three major players in the industry that are producing cement for local and international markets. There is no doubt that education in relevant field is a prerequisite for qualitative manpower development. A specialist institution as proposed here have important role to play in the preparation of young people for middle-level skilled position for their effective participation in the industry towards national economic growth and development. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the community where this specialized education institution is to be located, Iselu, have the advantage of proximity to the international producing cement like the Dangote Cement at Ibeshe, Yewa South, Yewa North, Lafarge at Ewekuru, and others including Bua Cement, Diamond Cement, and Gateway Cement, among others. The graduate of this college will provide ready middle-level skilled manpower for the industry that holds a huge promise for the nation's economic growth and development. In addition, one of the key advantages for
You're watching live plenary proceedings from the Senate. Right now, Senator Solomon Olamilekan is debating a bill that is up for second reading. That is a bill seeking to establish the Federal College of Geological and Cement Studies in Yewa North, Ogun State. Well, before then, the chairman of the Joint Committee on Finance, Appropriation, Local and Foreign Debt, and National Planning that conducted the MTF hearing, that is the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper 2024 to 2026, is here with me. Senator Sani Musa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, in the last 9 days or thereabouts, your committee engaged several MDAs on revenue and expenditure plan for the next 3 years. Now, tell us some of the issues that came up during the hearing.
Thank you very much. We had interactive session with a lot of MDAs, GOEs, and revenue generating agencies. And I think we have done we invited about 76 of these agencies. And what we found out is that a lot of these agencies collect this revenue. Some of them are remitting directly to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, and some are retaining this in and not remitting as at when due. And we question those because the 2024, 2025, 2026 MTEP and FSP is predicated on the basis of the projections of what we have seen the performance of the previous years have been. So we are very tough with the revenue generating agencies, and we request them to bring all evidences of remittance. And those that have not been remitting, we have asked them to highlight to us why the delays in remitting these funds, because there's no any other time that the government needs revenue than now. And that is why we've been on it. And I have led the report today, and will continue to go on investigative hearing to find out why revenues of government are held by most of these agencies. And agencies that cannot give us the right expenditure, we will make sure that financial regulations and the Fiscal Responsibility Act's penalties are imposed on those agencies.
Now, during the hearing, most of the agencies that were caught wanting concerning non-remittance of revenues, they always give the excuse that their act gives them that edge to do that, to touch some of the monies that they have actually collected as revenues. Now, going forward, since the Constitution is very clear that all monies collected on behalf of the federal government should be remitted into the Consolidated Revenue Fund, what is the National Assembly going to do about that?
The National Assembly is going to look at all these acts and make sure that everything concur with what the Constitution spelled out. So there will be no conflicts. I know the present administration is working to make sure that every revenue goes to the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we come to the end of today's live telecast of plenary from the National Assembly. On behalf of all those that contributed to make it a success, my name is Lami Ali, thanking you for your time and urging you to stay tuned as we get back to studio to continue transmission of other scheduled programs.